My name is Shelley Schluter, and joining me is Simon Evett from BT, and we're here to talk about the evolution of our engagement with BT today. So welcome, Simon.
Thank you very much for having me.
Certainly. The beginning of what we've been doing with you, that started quite some time back. So can you talk a bit about the progression that we've had with you in the care space?
Sure. So we've been working with Nokia for well over 10 years, probably not far off 20 years actually, when I think about it. We've used Nokia to manage our hubs, our routers, for example, manage software updates, manage authentication onto the network, and also to help our advisors with relatively straightforward diagnostics, tests in terms of how well is the router performing, some early tests in terms of how well the Wi-Fi is performing. Mm-hmm. And we had some good successes with that, but it was just very much behind the scenes. We would use our own tools that for our advisors to be able to then trigger tests of the performance of our customers' routers. Mm-hmm. But then, and that was good. It was good, but I'd say it was relatively. It meant Nokia was important to us, but it didn't have a huge impact on the day-to-day role of our contact center advisors, for example. And it was very much behind the scenes. It's something that was useful, but did it really transform the experience that we provided our customers? Probably not. Mm-hmm. But then, thinking back probably 4 or 5 years, with I think just how, even as quite recent memory, the demands that our customers have on the performance of their Wi-Fi networks in their home environments, the growth of data consumption in the home environment, the need to be able to test the home environment successfully and understand how our customers have got their homes configured and the devices that they're using, it's just grown exponentially. It's no longer good enough for us to be able to know that Wi-Fi is working. We need to be able to really sort of see into the customer's property, if you like, and then help advise the customers to be able to solve their problems. Mm-hmm. And for us, as well as we really wanted to make sure that our advisors, when they're speaking to our customers, our advisors are experts in Wi-Fi. We want to really make sure that they understand the network, how it performs, how it operates, and really give them the tools to improve that environment for our customers. Because as a customer, you want to speak to someone who knows their stuff, don't you?
Yes.
And I think, I know we didn't have the ability on our own to do that, to help our advisors make that leap in terms of their technical capability. So we've been working then with Nokia. The Nokia team have been suggesting for some time that maybe there were some tools in the Nokia toolbox that we could be using to help us with this challenge. And so probably now 3 years or so ago, mm-hmm. We started to roll out the customer service console. Okay. We call it Homeview. And this is a tool where it started our journey for giving customers that visibility, one place to give them visibility into the home environment, but then also to use it to help our advisors understand how the broadband, the fixed network itself is performing too. So a one-stop shop. Mm-hmm. And it's been really powerful for helping the advisor to see, is the broadband network to the home working? Is the router, how's the router performing? To understand the Wi-Fi environment, and is there any congestion or any other problems that might be preventing the service from being at its best? And then also to actually then see the customer's network as well and understand the devices they've got connected, and then also view over time the Wi-Fi performance, because I'm sure when you call up with particularly with an intermittent problem, it's always the point you're calling that everything's fine, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Always happens. So we're really thrilled with being able to then provide a place where our advisors could see not just the performance now, but actually how was the home Wi-Fi network for each of the devices yesterday and the day before, etc. Helping really to our advisors to then empathise and understand the customer's problem so they can confidently resolve it. So for probably the last 2 or 3 years, we've been working with the core Nokia platform to sort of add further integrations of our own, but to really make this Homeview application software work really well for our advisors. Now, we're trying to take it a bit further, though. Okay. At the end of the day, with the data we collect from our routers, from our broadband network, from I guess the whole ecosystem, if you're you could probably work out or diagnose and resolve any problem. Yeah, I think with that, but it's not always straightforward to be able to see for particularly those more complex problems exactly what's the root cause and what steps should you take remotely to fix the problem. And again, the Nokia platform provides us huge capabilities for remote interventions. We do a lot proactively as well, but equally when the customers call us, whether it's a simple reboot or a Wi-Fi channel scan or many other interventions we can take, it's not always straightforward for an advisor to be able to see all the different data points, all the different clues, and then work out what the right steps would be. So we've been working again with Nokia. So how can we develop the models that will understand based on the data signatures we've captured what really should be the next best action for our advisors to take.
Is that where AI and ML are playing a role?
Yeah, exactly. That's where we're starting there, exactly. So and we've got big plans to go much further with that, but that's certainly where we're making those initial inroads, and we've got a little advisor assist bot that sits on our Nokia platform, and if our advisors want to use it, particularly those advisors who are newer or advisors who maybe have a broader role than just tech, and so maybe don't take tech calls all the time, they can call up our assist bot, and that will then look at all those data signatures and make recommendations about what steps they should follow next. And it's simply then a guided flow based on what they can see, and it continuously learns based on what our advisors then choose to do. Do you reboot the router, channel scan, disconnect certain devices, reboot our wireless extenders, whatever it might be. It's then constantly reset, re-looking, right, based on what I can see now, I can see how the network has adjusted post interventions. Is the problem fixed, or actually should we go further? So we're really pleased with how that's going, because it doesn't just look at, for us, it's not just the router. We've got a TV, set-top boxes as well that are connected. We've got our mesh network that's connected. Clearly, all of the customer devices, and customers have got so many devices these days. And it provides that fantastic sort of helping hand for those advisors who need it. And we're seeing really exciting results for us in terms of your core contact center metrics, which is great for us. We love it when first contact resolution improves. We love it when our handling times reduce. But actually, clearly, our customers love it most, because they're when they're picking the phone up and they're speaking to us, they're getting someone who really can see into their home and understand exactly what's causing the problems. And also, it means typically when one of our advisors gets stuck, well, the next step is to send out a new router or perhaps send an engineer to visit. And that's great. It might fix the problem, but it might not. And equally, you might have then spent another couple of days waiting for the engineer to turn up. And if we can fix those problems instead on the phone, and so particularly if you're so many people working from home now, we don't want to wait 2 or 3 days for an engineer to turn up, do we? So seeing really great results at being able to reduce engineer volumes, reduce the need to send out replacement routers just by using the data on the site we've got in a more intelligent way.
Do you have any concrete statistics around what kind of improvements you've seen on your side?
Yes, we've seen probably in the region of several hundred seconds of handling time reduction over the last couple of years as we've been going through this, and we've seen our first contact resolution go up by probably 4 to 5 percentage points. Which for us as a relative improvement is really great to achieve. And obviously the number of engineers we're sending as well substantially lower. So overall, we're seeing multi-million pounds worth of savings for us every year.
Okay.
More than justifying the investment.
Right. And as far as your customers go, you said they're much more satisfied with the kind of service they're getting. Is that something you're gleaning through customer satisfaction scoring, or how are you measuring that?
Yeah. So we have a big voice of the customer program that we run. So when any customer calls us, we will follow that up with a text message after the call and ask our customers how we did, and also them how do they feel about the BT or EE or PlusNet brands that our advisors are supporting. And it tells us absolutely that the service that they're receiving now from our advisors, who are informed and capable and have the skills to resolve problems, is much better than it was before. So we're absolutely thrilled with the customer experience improvements.
That's excellent. Okay. Well, as far as the implementation, you've talked somewhat about the timeline that you've hit. As far as milestones are concerned, where are you in the process of continuing the rollout? You said there's some next steps you're going to take. So what are you looking at next?
Okay. So we've got probably 2,000 or 3,000 advisors using our Homeview tool, the Nokia portal, and also using our smart assistant, the agent assist bot at the same time. And what's great is obviously it's given us real confidence because our advisors are using this bots, and if it's giving them poor advice, it occasionally happens. We occasionally get things wrong. They ignore it and they move on and do something different. So we're getting much more confidence that the automations are working effectively. The more that our advisors accept the solutions proposed by the smart assist bot, the more we know that it's doing its job. So that gives us real confidence to start moving that assistant bot into more channels. So I think we've probably got two main tracks. So one is just to keep adding to the different scenarios that the assistant can resolve, and keep improving those models that we're running. The second is then let's make, if our advisors can use it, well, why can't our customers use it?
Sure.
So we're making sure that assistant can be consumed by our app or the website, and or the IVR as well. Mm-hmm. So really, any channel that our customers come through to, if we're quite cautious about self-service unless we're really confident that it's genuinely resolving customers' problems. There's obviously I don't want to put our customers through a self-service experience which is ultimately going to annoy them because it's not resolving their problem, and they're going to end up speaking to one of our advisors and being understandably grumpy because they've got a problem, and then we've put them through a torturous process to try and fix something that failed. So now I feel much more confident that we can start to make this assistant available to all those different channels that our customers come through to us on. So that's where we're going. That's where we're going next.
Okay.
But it's the assistant's still going to play an absolutely core role for us, because there will be scenarios where I know the model can identify what the solution should be, but you're probably going to want to still speak to an advisor to talk you through what we might do. Right. But yeah, it's really exciting how we're going to take it forward.
Okay. Well, you've talked about how the assistant and the portal have helped your engineers solve problems when people are calling in. What about proactive care? Are you doing anything going in that direction as well, or is that part of what you're doing now?
So already on doing a lot of proactive at the moment. I think, I know we're in a very fortunate place for customer service being a telco, because we are not short of data in terms of I guess our understanding of the broadband network performance for each of our customers and the Wi-Fi performance in customers' homes. So for some time now, actually, we've been just some quite straightforward, proactive interventions. You know, if we see the performance of a customer's broadband services as the speed has dropped a bit, we'll intervene with a reboot overnight, for example. Quite straightforward. But now with the insight that again we're capturing through the models that our advisors are using, we're starting to get a bit braver, a bit more bold in terms of the proactive engagement. Sometimes that involves us simply going out to customers and clearly recommending they book an engineer because we know an engineer is going to be needed to resolve the problem that the customer's got. Mm-hmm. Other times it's making sure that it's trying to channel refreshes or other setting configuration changes in the router to try and keep speed or the throughput where we want it to be, or to get the Wi-Fi coverage to perform well. Just really now looking at how do we do as much as we can, and we need to, it's got to be quite clever because we don't want to be fiddling with a customer's home environment when they're at home watching the TV being streamed over the network. We've got to make sure that we're clever at choosing the right time when traffic is really low and customers aren't trying to use the service. I think we're getting quite good at that. We've always wanted to be proactive, but we haven't had the people to be able to do this. Now with the automations that we've got, we can effectively be proactive at huge scale for that. So I think for me, I'd like to be in a situation where every customer knows that we're monitoring their own individual service and we're on the case to make their broadband and Wi-Fi performance the best it possibly can be.
Excellent. Okay. I guess my last question would be, in this case, it sounds like part of where these solutions have come into play is that long-standing relationship with Nokia. Were you considering other solutions? And if you were, what made you choose the solutions that you've got now that come to us?
So I think with broadband, Nokia is probably the obvious solution for us, given that long-standing relationship. Now, though, with mobile, so obviously we own the EE mobile network, and our customers clearly have different types of problems with mobile versus broadband, but equally important that we fix them. We're now looking to work with Nokia on mobile too. So because it's a difficult decision, because there are lots of different people, lots of different providers who can provide software who can help us. But the successes we've seen in broadband, the fact that increasingly the products and props that we're providing our customers are converged. We sell routers that have 4G backup services, for example. Many of our customers use Wi-Fi calling in the home environment to make phone calls. Our advisors are increasingly needing to, when a customer calls up with a mobile problem, it could be fixed. Yeah, that's the root cause of it. So with the Nokia platform that we've been using, the flexibility it's provided for us, we've it's been really very agile delivery of the capability, constantly evolving. Haven't felt like we've had to wait 6, 9, 12 months for deliveries. The guys are great at being able to take our asks and turn around quickly. So I think that way of working, that relationship's been great. It's given me great confidence that we should start to look at how we can help in the mobile space too, and how we can equally start. Probably we're probably maybe 2, 3, 4 years behind where we are on broadband at the moment. But I'd hope that with the relationship, for the experience we've got on broadband, we can catch up on mobile really quickly.
Okay. Well, we're here to be your partner in.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Must be a pleasure talking to you.
And you.